Hey guys, Maker J here. So, I wanted to do a bit of a video on the Anet A8 3D printer. It comes in a kit. It costs, well, I bought it for about $160 US, which converted to about 230 Australian. But yeah, for its price, I've had a great time with it so far. Now you've got to build it from scratch, obviously, it being a kit and everything. So I'll show you through the printer. There is a video online on how to assemble it when you buy it. They give you the file. Just use that. It's a much better video than I would have been able to do. So I'm just going to show you the printer now it's built. A few examples of the first few prints I did, and then some issues and how I sort of fixed them. So yeah, here we go. So here's the printer all set up in its glory. And Dinara here. Come on. Alrighty, so it's pretty stock. The only upgrades I've printed for it are really basic ones. I've got a little filament guide here, so that just slides on. Easy done. It just makes it so the filament doesn't just go from this into this and has issues here. It comes down on a bit of more of a straight line. So yeah, this is how it should look when it comes out of the box. Well, once you've built it. So yeah, so we've got the filament guide. That's all I've printed so far. So this is just to show you sort of how stock it is. I haven't printed anything that improves any of the really quality of printing. So we've got the filament guide here. We've done, I can't remember what it's called. So you push this down to get your filament in and out here. So you hold that down, it does that. Now the button itself is a pain in the ass to push. So you put this down and it makes it much easier. And the fan itself I've put in here, so let's see if we can move it. So this fan is a semicircle because the one it comes with just comes to here. I just like the look of this one. A lot of people say it does help. A lot of people have done studies and saying, as much studies as you could do, saying that it doesn't actually improve the quality at all. The only main reason I printed it was because the stock one actually went into the fan as opposed to around it. And it touched the fan blades and it made this horrible screeching sort of sound. And you can file the fan off that they give you, the fan nozzle, to fix that. But I like the blue, so that's why I went with that. Alrighty, so to print, straight off the bat, I've got mine hooked up to a Raspberry Pi down here. It's so as I can print wirelessly from my computer. But from the stock, you get your SD card. You just put it in this little slot here. With the G code on it that you've put on through Cura and Slicer, or whatever slicer you're using. Now it's not showing up. There we go. So then you go the middle button and you just scroll down to SD card. You have to mount your card if you haven't already. I haven't got one in there. And then once you've got your card mounted, you just go print. You have an option saying print file, and then you select the file you want. It's easy as that. And then you got to wait for these to heat up. It won't do anything until they've hit the heat, so it's out of 0, but whatever your G code sets to, so usually about 200. So once it hits 200 and this one hits about 50 or 60 for PLA, it'll start printing. So yeah, I am just using regular PLA here. Now I've had a few issues. There's the known issue for the Anet A8, which you require a thing called a MOSFET. Now, apparently a lot of people, a bit more filament, sorry. A lot of people have had issues with the sockets and things burning out. So this thing here. So apparently those green sockets in there burn out really easily and melt. And people are worried about fires and things like that. I mean, if you haven't got it over any paper or things, it'd be safer. But you still don't want anything burning in your house when you're not there, or when you're running a print while you're asleep or something like that. So a lot of people do a few things. Now you put those little terminal connectors on, the crimp connectors. So it's like a spade, a ring that goes into, So you you crimp on the wire terminals. You can get them from any hardware store with a crimping tool. They usually come with crimping tools, electronic store, or even auto parts stores, they all sell them. So you get one of those, you sort of crimp the ends of the wires they come with, because the wires come uncrimped. They also come soldered. You have to cut the solder off and re-strip the wire and then crimp the wire terminal on. And you attach those ones in there. Also, some of the green ones with the screws, they need to be crimped as well. And that just offers a better connection, so not as much heat and energy is going through one concentrated wire, and it's sort of spreading it out and getting a much better surface contact, no arcs or anything happening and causing any burning out. Now the main issue is with the heat bed. So the bed here heats up, this guy here. Now either this will burn out, or where it's connected to in there, which is the middle one, yeah, that burns out. So a lot of people just straight out cut them off and solder them straight to the heat bed and solder them straight to the board. If you're not comfortable with that, which I'm not too much, I will do it eventually, but at the moment I'm sort of learning this all still. You need a thing called a MOSFET. So MOSFET. It's sort of a heat sink here, and it just handles the power and puts the power where it needs it, as opposed to just pumping all of the PSU power into the hotbed, and it just doesn't manage very well. Now a lot of people just print with their hotbed off. It makes things a lot harder coming to bed stick and all that sort of stuff. So this guy is really good. He's easy to set up. I only just got him in the mail today, so he needs to be rigged up. What's he called? Game On, I believe he is, on YouTube. I'll put his link down in the description. He does a little video on how to set this guy up. And yeah. Now, the easiest bed surfacing to use is, I've been using blue tape, so just painter's tape from the hardware store, from Bunnings in Australia, Home Depot, wherever you are. And you get glue stick, regular glue stick. A lot of people like to use the purple glue stick because you put it on purple and it dries clear, and that means it's ready to start printing on. This guy, you just have to wait, and you can tell when it's sort of dry, but if you like the purple, use the purple, doesn't matter. Now I've been putting the painter's tape down and then putting this on top, waiting for it to dry, and then starting my print. It started off pretty great. So this guy, that's the bottom. It's, there we go. It's smooth, there's no lines, you can't even really tell it's a 3D print at all. I was impressed when this came out. So this is just a little game token I've designed for a sort of miniature game. But this print came out nearly perfect, and I was impressed. It was my first ever print. I was like, wow, this is, for $200, this thing is amazing. So I printed another one. Nope, that was a little bit later. Anyway, I printed the fan after that. Now, the bottom of the fan came out perfectly, but I'm not sure if you can see in here. See if I can focus that. There's these sort of lines or gaps in between the layers and things. And then they started happening when I got a certain distance up the Z-axis. Not sure why, but, well, I am sure why. At that time I wasn't. Did some research, asked a few blokes for some help, and they advised me it was the extrusion rate, so how much plastic's being pushed through. It was set to 100%, but I needed to bump it up to 110, and because it was down low, it was being squished, so it didn't really matter, but as it got higher and higher, they started to have a bit of gap. I did that, printed a new sort of piece. This isn't it, but it looked very much like this, just to get the height test, and that came out perfect. It was amazing. Now this one was the one I did after. The bed started to become unlevel, so you can sort of see the sort of striations in the bed here. Nowhere near as smooth as the previous piece. A little bit of gap, but it was much better than it was. The curves have been alright. There's been no layer shift, so layer shift is this. So see how the sides are all really bumpy when they're supposed to be one straight line? That's because my belts are now, I need to fix them now. These belts here, they're a bit loose. The video did say just have them here, that's where I put them to. The first couple of prints were amazing, but now they've started to stretch a bit. There's also another belt in here. So I've printed out the thing I just showed you, this guy, and this guy, which has this with it. They are belt tensioners, so you sort of install them in. I believe this one goes in there, and this one goes in here or over here, I think. I have to figure that out still. And then that makes it so you don't have to take all your belts off and tighten them with the cable ties and everything like that. You just turn your knob or turn your screw, and it tightens it for you. Makes it much easier when you get these issues. You just quickly tighten it up and fix it. And then the leveling started happening where I kept getting all these issues on the bottom side of it. So this is the next print. See, it's super gappy. It didn't really stick to the bed. There's no smooth layer like the other one had. Where's the other guys? These guys, same sort of thing. Just, they started to get really messy. I was really sort of upset about it. So this shows you how well it was printing at the start, and I didn't touch anything, didn't change any settings, didn't even touch the printer physically, and it just started out of nowhere having all these issues. And obviously it's just it's setting into the position it's in, because it hasn't changed since. It hasn't gotten worse, and the things I've been doing to fix it have been helping, which is good. So this is when it started to have issues. This one was printing fine. I just ran out of time and needed to cancel the print, so that's all right. But yeah, then I leveled the bed again, and this guy came out really nice on the bottom. So the bed is leveled, and that's what the issue on the bottom was. But now I'm having all these, so on top of the layer shift, which I need to fix with the belt tightening still, I'm having these issues with it sticking. So with my next video, I tried to print a hook, and halfway through the video, the print, sorry, it comes off the board. So it stays, it's like this, your nozzle's printing around it, and then all of a sudden it just unsticks in the middle of the print, and it moves with the nozzle. So obviously your nozzle stays and it's trying to do the printing, but it stays with it, and this big glob stays there, or it pushes it to the side, and then it just does all this squiggly, looks like a sort of hairball of plastic. And then I came back in 20 minutes later to see if it was done, and it was just a giant hairball of plastic on the board. You'll see that a lot when you print. Don't worry about that. It does happen, but it was happening though sort of the last 4 or 5 prints I've tried to do. It keeps happening. Now I've been advised to fix that. First of all, turning my bed temperature up. I've been printing it at 45, put it up to 50, still had the same issue. So I've actually bumped it up to 60. Now I haven't done a print yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing next, is 60 degrees, and see if that helps. And also someone's advised to just remove the blue tape altogether. I've been having no issues with the blue tape, and a lot of people just print on the blue tape. So I've had 2 pieces of advice. One, blue tape, no glue. And you get an alcohol swab or acetone, and just clean the tape before every print. Make sure it's really nice and clean, and that should be fine with your 60 degrees. The other piece of advice is the opposite. No tape, and just glue straight onto the aluminium bed. So just onto this, and keep it 60 degrees again. So both people said up to temperature, so I'm going to be trying that. So yeah, one is no tape and glue, one is tape and no glue. Even though I was told by a lot of people that tape and glue is one of the easiest and cheapest methods. Printing on glass has actually been recommended by everyone, but I have a whole heap of glue and a whole heap of tape that I want to use before I get to that point. So yeah, that's the A8. Now it is a great little printer for its price. The printing quality when it's having no issues is amazing, and the issues are easy to work out. They're just little things, and all printers have those issues. You just need to, it's called dialing it in. Once you've got your settings all set up, you've got your hardware all set up, you've got all your things dialed into your computer and your printer, your prints just come out perfect pretty much every time. Even the experts with couple $1,000 machines will come home after a day of work while it's been printing all day, or they'll wake up in the morning and find a big hairball mess, or something's just gone wrong. It happens. It's technology. So yeah, that's the Anet A8. Do recommend it if you're looking into getting into 3D printing, especially if you're a bit tech savvy and you want to learn how they work, as well as all the 3D modeling and the printing itself. You don't even need to know 3D modeling. There's the Thingiverse website, which just open source 3D models that you can just print straight off the bat. They're amazing, so you don't even need to worry about 3D modeling. So yeah, that's the printer done, and yeah, I'll show you a next video on how to use Fusion 360 really basically. Printing that hook that didn't print very well, but it works, which is good. So yeah, cheers guys.